All right, come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on the playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we're talking about the big M's, coming attractions, what the queue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television, entertainment news with too many else with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick, and a third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am Willy Wonka because I'm a bit of a clown. To John's Mission Impossible because he makes the missions possible. And Dave, you're the bear because we all have to say yes, chef.
Yes, chef. I'm behind. I'm always working, always stressing. One of these days, you might lock me in a fridge. I wouldn't be surprised. All right, we are going to be talking about all those things tonight. We got a jam-packed show, Mission Impossible. We got a movie. We got the Bear TV series, and then the Wonka trailer. We're going to talk about that as well. So much to do. I should have quoted Willy Wonka. Like, what is it?
Little time.
Yeah. Oh, strike that. Reverse it. John, what's the first segment?
In and out points.
In or the out. In or the out. In, out.
Yes, it is in and out points. Now, on Thursday of last week, that was our last live show, we discussed all the nominations for the 75th Primetime Emmy Awards. And coincidentally, it was also the first day of the SAG-AFTRA strike. While we briefly discussed the effects of it, what it may have on award shows, we got a bit more to say on it tonight. So SAG-AFTRA, that is the Screen Actors Guild. Those are the actors. Those members are seeking a new contract with the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, which is a trade association that represents just, the entertainment corporations, all the big ones, Disney, Netflix, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Discovery, all those are all in this alliance together. This agreement, according to SAG, must account for the economic realities of the streaming revolution and the risks posed by emerging digital technologies. And we mentioned it on last week's show, but it's so crazy. I think it really bears repeating. We can dive more into it tonight. But the AMPTP had a groundbreaking AI concession that they allegedly offered during negotiations. They said, SAG, we got a great idea for you. And the SAG leaders explained it how it would go. Quote, they proposed that our background performers should be able to be scanned, get 1 day's pay, and their company should own that scan, their image, their likeness, and should be able to use it for the rest of eternity in any project they want, with no consent and with no compensation. Sign me up. That sounds like a great deal. I can get bare minimum wage for 1 day, and then I'll be out of work for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And who would want to sign that contract? No. But I've heard with the background actors that they get these people to just sign these agreements because they don't want to ruffle feathers, or they do it at the end, and so it's already
and they need
done,
a gig. They need a gig. They need to have some income, and it's this short-term thing, but they need to put dinner on the table, and it's just I just think it's crazy that
a studio should be allowed to have that much power. Yeah. If you're going to be using, it's like the image and likeness thing. If you're going to be using this, they should be compensated for the likeness that you're using.
And
it's
scans
crazy.
are already happening.
Yeah,
I saw a bunch of, reports on Twitter. A lot of people have been sharing their stories and saying I was on a set, I worked on this show or this series, this high profile show, and they scanned us. I saw, I'll just say at least the tweet I saw, I don't know if it's verified, but one of the actors was on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he said, well, Ewan McGregor went through the scan, so I think it's okay. I guess I'll go through the scan, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, who knows what Ewan McGregor's contract was
Yeah.
versus,
Yeah.
whatever, this guy who's, brand new to the industry. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah,
it's really scary.
it is really scary. It's crazy that I just don't know. But when we're talking about all these other things that are happening, that Sarah Silverman
Yeah.
case, I'll bring it up again because I did last week. But it's just like we're already offering AI tons of images of ourselves anyways through the internet. So it's just like, are they even going to need to for people to come in and scan if we're just willingly giving up
The entity
images of
knows.
ourselves,
It knows all about us. It has 428 hours of our voices. Like, it's there. Like,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think the only way they could get rid of that would be to use an amalgamation of people's likenesses to drive fake new likenesses, which is something that has been actually being done for the last couple of years. You can go online. There's plenty of generators that will generate people who are imaginary, who don't exist, and it's all done via AI, and it all works. It works great.
Yeah.
But there's the legality of what content you use to build that database for the AI, and that's really is what that Sarah Silverman case is revolving around, is them using their works to build a database. Even if it's generating new content, you still have to have something that it referenced at some point. So
and this is 2 podcasts ago with Black Mirror. Joan is awful.
Yeah.
It's just like, in that episode, one of the Jones was doing something solely to make the other Joan look bad. And it's like, well, my likeness is now owned by this company. What are you going to do with it? In this next project, in this, 20 years from now, what am I going to be doing on screen? I didn't sign up for this. I'm not getting paid for this. It's just, it's wild. And so before the strike, there's been numerous deadlines, like all these like deadlines they kept extending, hoping they wouldn't have to strike. And SAG-AFTRA was believing it was going to be for negotiations. But it seems more and more likely now that the delay was more for Hollywood films to be promoted, like Mission Impossible, Barbie, Oppenheimer, so they could have another week or two of promotion with those actors before everything shuts down. And that's because there are strike rules for members that limit promotion during this time. And there's a huge list that includes, I'll read through some of the big ones here, but principal on-camera work such as acting, singing, dancing, performing stunts, piloting on-camera aircraft, puppeteering, off-camera work such as ADR, TV trailers, voice acting, narration, promotion of publicity services like tours, interviews, conventions, festivals, FYC events, podcast appearances, social media, awards shows. Pretty much, you can't do anything. You can't be promoting anything, and promoting to give money to the studios you are striking against.
Yeah.
So I get real quick. I do love how under on-camera work they say piloting an on-camera aircraft. It's like we all know who you're talking about. Why don't you just say it? Tom Cruise, this
you
for you.
Strike, Tom.
You can't do this. Like, who else is doing that in Hollywood? On-camera piloting aircrafts. Come on. But
well, aren't stunt people part of SAG-AFTRA too?
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, that's a funny joke. I like it, Dave.
Thank you. But yeah, we're not in SAG, so we're okay right now with podcast appearances. But yeah,
what I was thinking? I was like, you know what? Colleges around the country are probably like, hey, maybe we can get like James Marsden for our student film.
Maybe he needs to work.
Yeah.
But Wall Street analysts are already commenting on how the SAG strike will be, quote, much more disruptive to the media industry than the WGA strike. Either way, it's a perfect storm because you have 2 striking events, like happening at once. I think this is like the first time since like the 1960s where 2 guilds have we're at strike at the same time. And because this is really shutting down things. I mean, you weren't writing scripts, you weren't preparing all these things.
Yeah.
So pre-production screwed,
Production yeah.
is screwed.
Yeah.
And next year, IATSE, which is like the stage crew, all the behind the scenes folks, their contract's up too.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, like it's just,
yeah.
and you're gonna start seeing some of the effects soon. I mean, obviously, all the late night shows are still like, off the air because of the writer's strike, but events and productions have already been affected. Comic-Con panels were canceled, no promotion.
Yeah.
Actors aren't going to be there. Movies like Beetlejuice 2, Deadpool 3, Gladiator 2, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 2, Venom 3, pretty much any film also looks like that has a number in it, have all stopped production. I saw at the Haunted Mansion, that's one of the summer movies coming out this year, at the premiere, the red carpet event at Disneyland, there was 0 stars on the red carpet. Instead, they had costume characters, Mickey, Minnie, all the Cruella de Vil, all those, probably non-union actors walking around the red carpet for press. Which is like, also, it's the Haunted Mansion. Why don't you just say it's like 99 ghosts here? They're all walking the red carpet. You can't see them. Oh, like it. I will say one production that's still going on though is the House of the Dragon. It was already working through the WGA strike, and it's supposedly, as of this recording, working through the SAG strike because I think most of the actors are not a part of SAG. They are, probably British actors, not a part of SAG-AFTRA, which is mostly American.
I thought US. I thought that was possible that they were going to be halting that because they're. I saw it as a possibility. I'll
see as of at least 4 days ago, it will film amid the strike. That's the latest post I'm seeing currently.
All right. Well, I mean, when you mentioned that to me, I was like, well, it might be because they're all British actors. So,
but what's scary to me though is like with the WGA strike, that means no writing, no revisions are happening on this. When they're filming, and you think, oh well, they should have all their scripts done. Yeah, they should, but that's not how things work, and you can't be ad-libbing lines or now.
But are British writers? I mean, I would imagine a lot of them are a part of the WGA as well.
I don't know.
Or are they WGA writers? Or are they writers from Britain?
I don't know. I believe Lord of the Rings of Power season 2 has shut down, and I don't know if again if it's the actors. It's very confusing. Either way, I'm just scared when a show is pushing through.
No, for sure.
Quality where we're going to be getting.
Of
when
course.
season 2 rolls around.
What about post-production? That's not fitting into this at all?
Well, I mean, I guess.
If nothing's being made, then nothing can be like
sure.
But all the ADR, all the
there's no ADR
dubbing, like all that stuff.
I guess I'm thinking more graphics and editing, but yeah. But it's interesting to think, where how far can something like House of the Dragon go? Can it go all the way? Like, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
A lot of networks I'm seeing, of course, are doing, what's in our vault? What's on our streaming service that we could put like. I think, CBS is going to be airing some Yellowstone repeats. Back in the day, that's how I discovered Dexter. I saw a much edited Dexter on CBS when they moved it from Showtime during the 2008 strike because they needed content for the airways. And it's going to be
sold the back catalog. Oh no.
So we'll wait and see. We'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, it's developing as every day goes by, but we'll keep an eye on the strike. But I don't know, maybe, networks and movies will have to turn to an unlikely source. Last May, we discussed how Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment, which already owned the service of Crackle, acquired Redbox, the video-on-demand streaming and video rental company specializing in disc rentals via automated kiosks. Well, now this year, Chicken Soup and TikTok have struck a deal to bring TikTok content to screens on more than 3,000 Redbox kiosks across the country. So I guess when your family is debating whether to rent Super Mario Brothers, the movie or something, from Redbox, you can, I don't know, just watch some TikToks before you go inside and get your groceries. Like, and you maybe find out what the latest TikTok dance trend is and head to the vending machine. What's happening? Like,
is this gonna be like YouTube where I have to watch 2 TikToks before I can rent my movie? Like,
maybe.
And then where's the ad revenue stream for this? Is it the users are paying to advertise on Redbox, or is TikTok paying? Or I couldn't imagine Redbox would be paying. That doesn't make any sense. So like, who's paying for what to be on these?
And then is like the influencers having some like product placement in their videos, which is it seems very convoluted. And to me, it's like there's nothing that says, nothing like for the Gen Z, the TikTok audience, what do they love more than physical media and DVD rentals? Like that is their thing. And it's like, yeah, let me see. I don't even know where to begin with this. Kyle, any thoughts on the Redbox TikTok revolution?
Yeah, I don't know how to make sense of this thing. For a second in my mind, I thought you meant like they had started putting TikToks on DVDs for people in like
that
the
might
middle
be a
of
better
nowhere.
deal, like an idea than what they're doing here.
How many TikToks per disc?
So in my mind, with all this SAG-AFTRA stuff and people saying like Hollywood is at the brink, that Redbox was now the innovators and
we got the solution.
Bringing you TikTok.
I mean, physical media is going to be coming back with all these shows coming off of these streaming services and disappearing. Who says that can't happen to TikToks?
Yeah.
We need a record of this material.
So in my mind, I was like, man, people are going to be renting TikToks like it's American Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't know. This is, I don't understand. It's like if you're going to Redbox, don't they already know about TikTok? I would assume, right?
Well,
or maybe not. Are they trying to get
a different demographic? I think an older demo, because again, I don't think many Gen Z people care about a DVD physical media release when everything's streaming around their phones. And
I don't know.
I saw that the head of global distribution at TikTok said, quote, "People come to TikTok to experience the entertainment, joy, and creativity of our community, and we are excited to expand that experience to Redbox kiosks. This partnership allows us to bring together the power of our exceptional content with the high visibility of Redbox kiosk locations, creating an effective and fresh approach to advertising." Okay, I guess there's Redbox around, but like, to me, this is like, okay, like you're trying to advertise, and instead of going to with a giant Times Square billboard, you're now going to a very super small screen that's like next to a vending machine and like the bottle deposit returns in the corner of a grocery store. Like that's not high visibility to me. It's such a small screen. And then it's like, well, can you swipe the screen? Or are you stuck watching the full video? As John was saying, you have to watch this video. Like the whole thing of TikTok is like, nope, don't want it. Don't want it.
Yeah.
What's this? No, don't want it. Like it's that kind of motion. You can get lost in the loop, but you can't really do that. And like you just like are walking by. Ooh, what is that on the screen? Like it's, you have to have.
This has to be for 80-year-old people, dude. I'm telling you.
Can I piggyback off of that and say I'm gonna go back to the other picture? It says a privacy screen over the actual screen. Like there's like a curtain that you have to open up. So who's gonna see?
Well, I don't know if that's just like an old. I don't know if that's just the.
You don't think that that's one of those privacy screens you lift up so no one can see what your credit card info is when you're typing it in?
Oh, I mean, maybe.
Doesn't it look like it? It looks like it to me.
I thought it was a different kind of privacy screen. I'm like, what kind of TikToks are you watching, John?
Well, now that they have this, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. People are gonna like camp out next to this, and instead of like, I don't know, watching on their phones in line at the grocery store, it's like, hang on, I gotta watch this TikTok. Let me just sit here real quick. Watch this. It's like, I don't know. I think this is the one of the dumbest ideas we've talked about on the podcast.
I mean, yeah, I think it's silly too, but the only thing I can think of is maybe you're trying to hit people in places that don't get a lot of news or something, like in the middle of nowhere. And then also, if TikTok wants to gain more users and infinite growth, let's try and get the 40-year-old, 50-year-olds that aren't on TikTok. I don't know.
Yeah. This is like almost like a step down from like the gas station TVs that are like at the pump. Like
I
this is
hate
like even
that.
a step down from that because
Yeah.
it's a smaller screen and like further away from like you walk by this thing to get into the store. You have like a 1 second chance to maybe see something interesting on that screen, maybe. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. But I have nothing else to say about this. I'm just shocked that the next movie we're gonna be talking about isn't already on Redbox and Crackle, and that is The Flash. After taking nearly 3 weeks to hit 100 million domestically, The Flash, which will already be available to purchase at home tomorrow on sites like Amazon, it's also going to be available as The Flash NFT blockchain through the blockchain service Elivo. So it's the Flash film NFT, and Warner Brothers Discovery explains that the Flash Web3 movie experience is a quote multimedia NFT allowing fans to own and to engage with the 2023 DC superhero film in an exciting way. And it's the first major studio motion picture that's being released as a Web3 film in the same availability window as conventional digital purchase options. So not only can you watch the film in 4K, we also gain an immersive Web3 experience that allows them to access 5 digital locations that contain hidden augmented reality collectibles, be able to unlock exclusive content, behind the scenes footage. I'm doing a terrible job explaining it. John, do we have the trailer for this thing?
For the first time ever, The Flash Web3 movie experience, limited premium edition. Journey through an immersive environment featuring 5 locations.
So immersive.
With hidden collectibles. Uncover exclusive 2D digital
2D,
cars.
wow.
Oh,
And
in a
3D
digital
models.
world.
Let's get nuts. An unbelievable AR experience, plus much more. Wow. Then continue your interactive adventure with hours of bonus features, deleted scenes,
You put that baby down so gently. What?
and experience the Flash movie in 4K Ultra
Right on
HD.
your phone.
You in?
Let's go. The Flash Web3 movie
Wow.
experience, premium edition, also available in Mystery Edition, dropping July
Mystery
18th.
too, wow.
You know-
Okay.
web3.wb.com. Get yours before they're gone.
Before they're gone, before everyone rushes out to get it.
Yeah, to me, that looks like the corniest thing I've ever seen.
It looks
It was-
terrible.
They couldn't have
Looks
made it
terrible.
look worse if they
They
wanted.
could have, but
It was pretty bad already.
But maybe the effects were on purpose, just like the Flash film. I don't know if you saw this article.
Yeah,
the,
I saw
the
it.
director had to defend the visual effects of the film, and we meant to make it look like that. They may look a
Yeah.
little weird to you, but that's on purpose, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, dude. But I don't know. I'm sure with that Web3 experience, they're gonna get like super fans, and maybe they're just
yeah.
trying to milk as much as they can from the fact that this thing stunk and was an absolute bomb.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I saw like a tweet yesterday in our GBW chat group that it's going to make less than Green Lantern did, and even adjusted for inflation there. The Ryan Reynolds hit by hit. It's in very loose
Yeah.
quotes. But I don't know. After looking at, the effects of these digital locations to explore, and the unbelievable AR experiences, they kind of look like DVD menus from like the early 2000s. They look so generic and basic and just like this was thrown together. Like,
Yeah.
and again, we're shelling out more money for this. This is the ultimate
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
edition
They
or
couldn't have
whatever.
made it look worse, dude. It looks like PlayStation 1.
It looks
Okay.
like early 2000s point and click PC shovelware.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, and it's just I also like they're offering premium and mystery editions. It's like mystery, like that is like the equivalent. Like if you ever go to like a thrift store or like a garage sale where they have like a grab bag, it's like
Oh.
$5-10. You don't know what's in it, but it's like random junk inside of it that they're just trying to like, ooh, take a chance. You might have something
This
good
won't
in
sell
here.
any other way.
And it's like, what could possibly be on this mystery edition that makes it worth it and better than the premium edition if this is what the premium is? But man,
Yeah, it
what a
does not look
mistake this
great.
whole thing was.
Yeah.
And like this is the film that they had like they're like, we think this is just like the best superhero movie since like The Dark Knight. Like this is gonna be our ticket. We're not gonna write this one off like Batgirl. We are going all in, promoting the
Yeah.
hell out of this thing. And then like it's
Yep.
just
It absolutely tanked.
yeah.
Absolutely tanked.
Well, so I don't know. July 18th, get the Web3 mystery premium, whatever NFT, wherever you get those NFTs. But all right.
I feel like this is one of those things that maybe in 1,000 years, it may be worth something.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm,
It's like the Atari video game for ET that like they
Mhm.
made and then they buried out in like the desert.
Yeah.
And then like if you have it now, oh, now it's worth something because it's
Yeah.
like this
Pretty
legend.
much.
But all right. Well, Warner Brothers Discovery has another film coming out in December here. Well, let's talk about it in coming attractions.
Here are some exciting coming attractions.
All right, we are talking about Wonka. It's going to drop December 15th, and the story follows a young Willy Wonka, played by Timothy Chalamet, and his adventures prior to opening the world's most famous chocolate factory. And to remind people what we're going to do here, this is coming attractions. We just talk about the trailer. This is our initial thoughts based on that 2-minute trailer for Wonka. John, start me off. What did you think of the trailer for Wonka?
it left me kind of questioning, do we need this, I guess. I think back when I first heard that they were doing this, I was into it. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, I wanna learn more. He's an interesting character. He's a weird guy. He's the kind of guy who, like, if you were there in front of him, is he gonna give you a piece of candy, or is he gonna like shove you into a machine? Like, am I scared of him, or am I happy to be near him? I'm not getting that from this at all.
No.
It just seems like he's running around doing some dancing, singing. Oh, the chocolate, like, I don't know. This seems like a good, like, when is it streaming movie,
Yeah. So it's from director Paul King. He did the Paddington films, and those were both critically commercial, successful. But this was such an odd trailer. And again, this is probably maybe not exactly for us. I mean, it seems more of like, a PG family film, but like, hey, we love the original Wonka. We talked about it for the big 50th anniversary. That was a family film. We were into that. But Kyle, are you into this new Wonka?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't love it. I didn't love the trailer. And it, just like John, it had me questioning, like, why did they do this? Like, why did they need to do this? And also, the trailer didn't tell me what it was about. I still have no idea.
I think it's
What
like
the heck?
super basic, where it's like he wants a chocolate factory, and then there's the chocolate cartel saying you can't do it. And well, we know the outcome to that. Like,
Okay.
Cartel.
spoiler, he makes a chocolate factory.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of dancing, and it made me want Gene Wilder more. And that's not to say that Timothée Chalamet isn't gonna like do his thing and do great, but I just was like, I'd rather watch Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm sorry. But like you said, it's probably not for us. It's probably for a younger audience. I just hate how it has to be attached to this thing that we've already had before in order to get made,
And speaking of that, did they, I'm assuming they're not going to, but did they make allusions to which Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Is this kind of a prequel? Is this a Tim Burton prequel? Is this the original movie prequel? Is this the book prequel?
Well,
is it a standalone thing that happens to kind of be the same, which is what I'm thinking it is?
Who knows? It could be all in like this same universe, but like it's like what are we gonna get?
The multiverse?
We're
The
10 years
Wonkaverse.
from now, they're gonna do some digital effects, bring Gene Wilder, Johnny Depp, and Timothy Chalamet all
my
together,
God.
like the 3 Spider-Men here.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure. Obviously, I think they're gonna update a lot of the stuff, to because it's an old book, old movie, put it into this kind of newer age. But you mentioned it, it is a musical, and I feel like the trailer kind of like shies away from it a little bit. We see them dancing, there are dance sequences, but we don't hear a drop of singing,
Yeah.
specifically from Timmy. Like he's supposed to be, it's so wild that like they wouldn't want to lean into that a little bit. Like, I mean, what's that saying? Maybe there'll be another trailer. Maybe they don't want to say it's a musical yet to turn people off, even though The Greatest Showman came out not too long ago. That was a huge commercial box office success. Came out around the holidays as well. But I saw that the director cast him without an audition, based supposedly, according to these articles, based on his high school rap and dance videos that you can find on YouTube. If you haven't found it yet, take some time and go to Timothy Chalamet and watch these rap.
I did not even know
videos.
that existed. Wow.
They're there, hundreds of thousands of views, and the director saw him. He's like, okay, this guy can sing and dance. We're putting him in the Wonka movie. And
nice.
I don't know. I will say, because I like Timothy Chalamet as an actor. He does great work in other stuff. I find that this is like an odd choice for his career. I'm not impressed so far with what I'm seeing in these 2 minutes. Like, it just seems like Timmy is Timmy. He's not doing anything crazy that like Johnny Depp did. He's not doing like the charm and like as John was saying, is he good? Is he gonna, be mean to these kids that kind of Gene Wilder had that like we didn't know what he was thinking?
The
mystique.
So I don't know. It's just like he already has a franchise, with Dune. He's an Oscar-nominated actor. It's just like I find it's a choice, and I'll give you these 3 names that Warner Brothers was exploring before Timmy, and these were 3 people. See if any of these were better here. Donald Glover, Ryan Gosling, Ezra Miller. Oh boy. Okay.
I think we might have talked about this when they announced it.
I believe so.
Bit. Yeah. Because there are some choices in there I could see working out. I don't know.
At least with the first 2.
Well, that's why I said some, not all. But, it's hard to judge until it actually is viewed, and then we can pass some judgment. But based on the trailer, I'm not lining up. I'm not pre-ordering tickets. Well, let's wait and see.
And for me, I feel like it looks a little bit like too much CGI, too much polish, too much like nothing feels real and lived in. And when I was watching it, even before we saw like from the makers of this, I'm like, this reminds me so much of the Fantastic Beasts film. Just the look of it, the feel of it, even the magic of it all. And then surprise, surprise, David Heyman, he's the producer. He did the later Harry Potter films. He did the Fantastic Beasts films. I'm like, oh, we're in that. And I don't know. It just feels very close. It's like almost, if you took the Fantastic Beasts films, Willy Wonka, put them together, this is what you got. And and it's funny, we've gone this whole time. We haven't even talked about, the rest of the cast. It's Keegan-Michael Key, Rowan Atkinson, Olivia Colman, Hugh Grant as an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Like,
because I felt like in the trailer it was so brief with all of them and then I saw the cast list at the end and I was like, whoa, wait, this looks like it's star-studded.
Yep, definitely didn't notice half of them. But is that the sign of a good actor or a poor trailer, or who knows?
Yeah. Because a lot of it comes down with these movies to marketing. You gotta market it good, market it correctly. We're seeing that with Barbie, we're seeing it with Oppenheimer. Like, people are excited. And so we'll wait and see December if Wonka is, it's grumdilliumptious, but it might be a Slugworth creation, but we'll see. All right,
Slugworth Sizzler.
There you go. But one movie that I think we all enjoyed, maybe at various degrees, is our next film, and it's Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. In order to talk about it, we have to go back. So send us back.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
All right. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. It dropped July 12th. It's the 7th film in the franchise, and surprise, this time Ethan Hunt and his IMF team must track down a dangerous weapon before it falls into the wrong hands. Let's start off right up here. We are going to spoil this movie. There's going to be spoilers throughout this discussion. If you haven't seen it, take that as your warning. jump ahead, come back to it another time, but we will talk spoilers when we're talking about this movie. All right, we all saw it, I believe. Let's start off with Kyle. What are your thoughts on Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Overall, the action sequences were amazing. They're fantastic. Like all the notes I have for the good. The small alleyway fight, the jump with the dirt bike, the landing on the train, the small car driving. It's like, dude, the action sequences in this movie are fantastic. Now, the bad for me is like, I thought it was like overacting at times. I thought the writing was like beating us over the head with it. And just some cheesy lines, but overall, I did enjoy it. I do have questions about some of the story. Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah, I might be a little higher on it than you are, but yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Sometimes maybe I just go in like I know like it's gonna have that like cheese a little bit. Like this is the, you know, for some people they love like James Bond, but for me, at least the last few James Bond, they're just so serious and like dark. It's like I just need like some, these movies. It's them playing with masks. It's Halloween. It's just them like having fun and doing whatever crazy stunt Tom Cruise wants to do. And it was going to be very hard to top Fallout. I mean, there was a commercial critical masterpiece. That thing is probably, I mean, it's definitely my favorite of the franchise so far. Good. So good. So it's like, well, yeah, it's gonna be hard to top that. And while this doesn't hit that level for me, there's still so much to like. I had a lot of fun watching it. John, what did you think of Dead Reckoning Part 1?
Yeah, I think I agree with pretty much all the points we've had so far. I mean, the action I think was again top tier. Yes, there were some cheesy bits. I think all we were missing was them saying "Mission Impossible" at some point. But besides that, I enjoyed it. I like the premise. I think it's pretty cool that they are not only fighting another group of people; they're fighting this nebulous entity that can trick them, and it has its own kind of motive and all this. And I think that's really cool. We had a couple scenes where, I mean, if we ignore the intro, where they're like, oh, I see somebody, but then no, wait, you don't really see somebody. You see somebody in the glasses you're looking through, but not in real life. And I thought that was really cool, and I thought that was a pretty inventive way to not just make it be, there's the bad guy, let's get him. I think that's very interesting, and I think it maybe ties into some realities that we are impending upon here with augmented reality and AI and stuff like that. So,
can I touch on one of the tech things that, unless I missed it, I was kind of annoyed by? So we have these dual keys, right?
Yeah.
That they gotta get in order to intertwine them to open whatever, right? So Ethan Hunt is wearing these glasses that is able to detect some kind of feature on the key, like the dragon egg or something that they mentioned, right? And so these are supposed to be like the foolproof glasses, right?
Yeah.
So he's following said person with the glasses, and he's like, whoa, it's a fake. And so I'm like, wait, did the tech fuck up, or like did you just like right around this? I don't know what the fuck happened. Sorry,
jeez,
oh man, you know how much editing works. No, I'm joking. No. I think the idea is
this is a PG-13 podcast. You can't say that more than once on the.
I was just like, what? Am I stupid? What happened here?
I think the idea is that somebody tried to counterfeit it and was able to counterfeit certain aspects, but when he got a closer look at it, he was able to tell that it was I mean, I think, and I may have to rewatch this scene, but I think when he compared the one they picked up to the one they knew was real, the one they picked up was physically a different color. It was close, but not quite the same.
Okay.
So I think between that and whatever glasses scan he can do now that he had it in his possession, they were able to determine it was a different metal, different alloy. And I believe that's what happened in that scene.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely will have some questions later on, but I will say, when we're still comparing a little bit to Fallout, going into this film, I have that in mind. And I think like there's a lot of it with like the part one of it all with this one. I mean, just knowing before it starts, it's not going to be complete. And
Mhm.
I feel like overall better than like, maybe the recent like Spider-Verse cliffhanger, because this one I feels like at least ends. Sure, there's more to this story, but like, okay, we completed this part. Like, it feels like, okay, this is a natural like
They completed the mission. They got the
endpoint.
key.
Yes.
They did part one.
Meanwhile, like Spider-Verse, it was like there's no part in the title. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
across the Spider-Verse, or it's beyond, the next one's beyond the Spider-Verse. And I think like the key, it's going to be hard to judge fully this film until we see the second piece. Like, the film needs to connect with this one. So there's like so much like setup for like the two-part story here. It's laying so much groundwork. There's so much like exposition. There's so much like we got to create new characters. We got to, have the cold open with the sub. We have to have all this stuff to kind of, maybe, yeah, it was one giant, 5-6 hour story that we got to now like, oh, this is too long for movies. Let's cut it in half, or, and so there's a little bit of that here.
Yeah. But I mean, even with that said, do we know why the main bad dude is teamed up with this AI or how that came about at all?
I don't know if we know how it came about. I mean, became a part of it, and he's using it to his advantage to, well, do whatever the hell he wants. Like, it seems like, because he can use the AI, so it's like it's in his best interest to protect this thing, to
Okay.
It seems
let
like
him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it seems like he has some extra knowledge, or is some like, I hate to say it, but like an elevated entity in this world of humans where he's not special except he has info, and so he can kind of like
the info makes him special. The
info makes him special, and so he can preemptively outmaneuver Ethan and all that stuff. That's the sense I got. I'm not sure. Is that his first appearance in this universe or not?
I believe so. So one of the
okay.
things like in this we'll talk about a little bit later is this character of Gabriel. Like, they gave him this backstory. Like, Ethan has his backstory now. This whole thing, we've never really had a backstory of why he joined the IMF and all that stuff. Like, this was all created for this movie, and Gabriel was like, I guess, like, because there's a lot of stuff where it's like a lot of things are becoming full circle. Like, is this the end of the franchise? And stuff like that. So it's like, okay, we're kind of playing the end game here. We got to set up something to make it all connect. But yeah, you bring up the stuff with AI, and I thought that was like, obviously it's very timely. Another thing that John, like, you were mentioning, like, I like how at one point it's like impersonating Benji. It has the voice. You can do that and say, no, Tom, go to the left, go to the right, go to the left, to keep him away from certain events and stuff. And one of the things I like about Ethan Hunt as a character is, unlike, a lot of the superheroes we see, even though he does insane stuff, he is a superhero. He also isn't like perfect. And like, for instance, when he crashes into the train, like any other person would be like, he's get up and let's go. He's disoriented, as he should be, because he just crashed through a plane or a train. Like, it takes him, maybe most people probably be done, but like, it takes him a minute to like kind of figure out like, what's going on? Where am I? Like, and it's like, there's just other fun moments. Like, I really like the when he's handcuffed to Haley Atwell's character in the car. She has to drive, and it's like, and of course, she wouldn't be a perfect driver. She is not a secret agent, and she's hitting things, and that's the comedy of it. And I just love the sight gag of it, spinning, falling, and then they land, and it's like, how did we switch places? Like, how did this happen? And it's just like a little, cheesy, dumb stuff, and it's like, that's the franchise for you. And so I will say, we talked a little bit about a lot of exposition, a lot of setup for new characters that will hopefully pay off. We have a new character here. We lost Rebecca Ferguson's character, and we gained Haley Atwell's Grace. What do you think about this new character joining the IMF team here of Grace, Kyle?
I was really interested in it, and I was interested in her in the airport. That whole scene was great. And I think they did Tom Cruise's character a disservice because they tried to like make the transition through the story because at one point he's like supposed to be worried about Rebecca Ferguson's character, and then they like do like a slow dissolve to her, and it's just like, okay, we get it. Like it's just,
I find it a little hard to believe that Ethan cares so much about this new character so much as the same level of Rebecca Ferguson's character. It's like, what about like the wife you had and you left and we saw in Fallout? You don't remember her? You're not going to have her in the montage? But
so it was so silly in that way. But I thought she was fantastic. A lot of the scenes they had were great. At one point, she gets screamed at by Tom Cruise in the end of the railroad where he's like, "Look at me. Look at me," and she's like, "How can I not? You're like in my face."
Oh yeah.
Oh man. But I think she's great.
Yeah, no, it was a good addition. And originally this was billed as a final, like, kind of two-part ending. Now it doesn't seem as like, now it's like Tom Cruise like, I'll do these movies till I'm 80. Like he loves these movies. But there's a lot of homages to the first film, kind of to maybe make this full circle moment. Like, just to run through a couple here, you have Kitteridge return, the FBI, or the head of the IMF, I should say. The train sequence at the end, the Dutch angles of filming, like that was a very big thing in the first movie. Ethan using magic with the key, just like he does with the hard drive in the first film. So there's a lot of kind of like parallels with this, and even like the created backstory, we see these like flashes of him, like, losing someone before he joined the IMF. And it's like, this almost looks like the first mission that has gone wrong, like the blue light, the cobblestone streets, the alleyway. At first I was confused. I'm like, is this that scene in the first movie? I'm like, no, that isn't. Like, it was confusing because of how much it kind of paralleled that. So they're definitely setting something up, at least to kind of complete a circle here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious if, number 8, Dead Reckoning Part 2, is the final one. Would you want it to be? Do you think this franchise is losing the juice, or do you think it's still doing strong? It's still going strong.
I mean,
oh boy,
I like the action sequences. I think Tom Cruise is a great action star at this point. But he's getting old, man.
Yes.
You know what? On top is the place to end.
Yeah.
You don't want to be, and I haven't seen the newest one, but you don't want to be an Indiana Jones dragging on. There's aliens and all this stuff. You're like, oh, come on. Like, you don't, again, I haven't seen the latest one, but like, you don't want to be in that position. Like, you go out on top, you market it as like, oh, look at this, the complete series, whatever you want to call it, octilogy or whatever. And celebrate it instead of it dissolving into something that you're just like, oh yeah, don't watch past 8. You don't need to, like,
this is a wild franchise that, like, I'd say probably the worst one is 2, and it's just like ever since then it just gets better, especially this whole renaissance of like 4, 5, 6, like that build up, and then with this one here, like it's getting bigger. And you mentioned the stunts. I will say, this might be a hot take, the big stunt on the cliff. We've been seeing it for weeks and months, and we've been this build up. We saw the behind the scenes trailer before Avatar. It's everywhere in the marketing. I was kind of like so when I saw it in the final cut, just because I think I've seen it so much in the build up and how they did it, and I was just like, okay.
I do have to say, the path he traveled looked a little bit CGI to me.
Oh yeah,
when I saw it
because remember it was that one ramp.
Yeah,
that they had
and I was like. And I remember watching it in the theater and being like, okay, cool. It's a ramp. They could just do whatever. It wasn't quite as nice. However, it was still pretty crazy.
It's still crazy. It's still crazy. But it's just like, it's one of those things like, oh, I saw how you did it before you did it. And then, so like the whole time I'm like, how's he going to, like, the whole part where he's going up the hill and like Benji's like, like, oh, it's coming. And he's like, well, where? I'm going up. It's like, I know what's coming here because it was so marketed heavily. Yeah. I will say, I was really in love with the train sequence, specifically at the end when they're climbing through each of the compartments, cool. And it was like each one had like kept raising the stakes a little bit. It's like, okay, now we're in the kitchen and there's grease everywhere, and it's like, oh, now the next train is gonna have a piano dangling. Like it kept just kept going up and up and up with the ante. It's just, I thought that was a really good sequence.
I think Uncharted 2 had a sequence like that where you're in a train
Yeah.
on the edge of a cliff,
Yeah,
and you're trying
too.
to do the same thing. And that was a great moment in that game too. So it definitely is paid off for this as well.
I have one question for you guys. Maybe it's just, I'm a little confused. I think I'm all set with it, but were any of you guys confused with Kitteridge, the IMF director here? If like when he was on the train, like, buying the key, like, is he good? Is he turning bad? Because like, he's telling Shea Wiggum's character, like, I'm not here. And it's like doing this deal. And then like the way Grace was acting, I couldn't fully read it because like she says to him, like, oh, Ethan says I can trust you. But the way she was acting in that moment, I'm like, I can't tell if she's like serious here. Like she saw the deal with Alana going through, and like, sure, it's a good agency, but like how many times have everyone in all these agencies turned out to be bad? And it's just like it was just I couldn't fully. I think he's good, but like the whole time I'm like, is he? Like I was debating it.
Didn't at one point they say that like everybody's trying to get their hands, every nation's trying to get their hands on this?
Yeah.
So I kind of could see it two ways, where he's trying to like make that deal to ensure the U.S. has it and that they can use it for whatever they want to use it for. I could also see it being like he's got the cash and he wants it. It seems like he's making a power play, So it may be a thing where, I mean, I'm fairly certain in part 2 that it's gonna devolve further into something, but I guess I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we already know it has to be part 2. There's going to be a sequence where, I mean, a lot of these things like kind of like call back to other things, other stunts he's already done. Like even like the the Fiat, going down the steps, bumping. It's like they had that scene with him and Benji, maybe Mission Impossible 5. And like in the next one, he's 100% going to be diving down to the sub, holding his breath for, however long he needs to. And it's like, well, you did that in, what is it? Is that the fifth or sixth? I'm losing track, but like, it's like, oh, you did with the hard drive. I think it's the 5th one. So it's like, okay, like you're just doing that now, just a little bit more, like a little bit more. And I don't know. I still love this franchise. When the theme song starts every single time in that movie theater, I just get like goosebumps. It's just like, all right, we're going. Like, it's just such a great theme song, such a great like franchise. So I would say I would recommend this one. Yeah, maybe it's not the heights of Fallout, but what was going to be of, so what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. Check it out.
Yeah, I say check it out too. Action sequences are amazing. It's cool. It's fun.
Bring a buddy, buy a couple extra tickets, have a good time.
yeah, Jen.
So yeah, the numbers came out. They did a 5-day to maybe say it's this or that, 85 million, which I think like is still like good for this franchise. It's one of the higher ranges, but like between all these films, between this, Indiana Jones, all these ones, it's still open to 80, get 100 million, after like a half a week. It's like when they say that, oh my God, that's really disappointing. That's terrible. It's like, well, maybe the budgets of these movies are just too damn big.
Yeah.
It's just like
it's Tom Cruise's insurance bill.
Yeah, it's like when whatever the budget of like whatever Indiana Jones is like 400 million. Yeah, you're not gonna make that back when you have to make like 700-800 million just to pay that back. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's crazy.
Just make it like for 50, for 100, and maybe you can make 200. Like, come on. But oh well. We have one more thing to talk about, just enough time. We're gonna do a quick check. We're gonna be talking about The Bear Season 2. We actually did the premiere of The Bear back in episode 426, but tonight talking about all Season 2. So again, spoiler alert. Just overall thoughts, guys. Now that we finished it, Kyle, what do you think of the second season of The Bear?
I really enjoyed it. It took a little bit for me to get back in the swing of things, but toward the end of the season, really good. Some really good guest stars. It was just overall the writing, that the episode where they're back home is fantastic. Yeah, I like this series a lot. And I think it's very, very good. But the only thing I will say is that I found it kind of I know everyone's still honing their craft the entire time, but like Richie going away
Yep.
for a week and then getting
That
it,
was
and
one
then
of my
like the other
main
guy being the
complaints where it's
baker and
like,
he's there 3 days, and it's like, hey, I'm now this guy. It was just a little too quick in that sense, but I get what they're going for. That
I get it, but it was just
experiences.
it was wild. Yes, for that's one of my main nitpicks is like Richie, like the guy we know from season one, all of a sudden becoming this like great manager in like less than a week is like a bit far fetched. But again, I know what you're going for here. I do enjoy this series. I love being in this world with this group. It's like I liked the binge release because I was able to I was like I gotta space these out, but then next thing you know I was binging them all. But now I'm like stuck. Not like it's one of those things where it's like I want more, but like you gotta space these out because now it's gone for who knows how long, especially with all the strikes.
Yeah.
This world is so loud, it's so stressful, but yet it's comforting. It's like this weird, dichotomy. But John, what did you think of of season two?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I watched both season 1 and season 2 in the last week, so I've been
Oh, wow.
going pretty quick on it. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think it's filmed very well and paced pretty well and all that. I think my biggest complaint, and it's gonna sound dumb, I understand the point is that he's trying to build himself up and he keeps getting knocked back down. But after a little while, that starts to like, oh man, really? Like the finale was just like, oh really?
It's
Like
the
after
Silicon
all
Valley of every
like
season they have to kick Richard
I
back down.
I get it, but at the same time, like, oof, like, come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I'm definitely gonna probably check out more if and when that happens. So
Yeah. I will say two confusions I always have is I'm confused about any family relations and how they related to anybody. Everyone is cousin. It's
Yeah.
Carmi at one point by one character is referred to as Jeffrey. It's like I don't know the names, I don't know the people. Then you have the big Christmas dinner episode, so many cameos, a new one popping up every second, and that just shows like how well respected the show is like in the industry. But it's like John Mulaney, Bob Odenkirk, Sarah Paulson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Gillian Jacobs. It's like how is Bob Odenkirk related to this family? His uncle, but is he real? Is he a real uncle? Like, it's just wild. And you mentioned the finale, John, and it's like with the restaurant launch. First of all, I never understand like what this like restaurant is. Season one, it was like beef sandwiches, spaghetti. Now they're like at high-end restaurant, but they have a drive-through window, but they're also selling baked goods. And what like the crazy desserts you learned in Copenhagen is like this like cinnamon roll looking thing in a plastic bag with a sticker. Like, is that for just the drive-through? Because I don't know if you're doing that at a plated dinner. But anyways, the big finale and with the episode, it's like I liked how the first half you're making it feel like it's in real time. The music changed from the back to the front of the house. And then like that divider somehow keeping all this kitchen soundproof.
Yeah, it must be soundproof, man.
But yeah, that moment with you mentioned it, John, with Carmi, getting he's stuck in the fridge and he thinks he's talking to Tina about a relationship issue, and you saw this coming.
Yeah, of course.
But like it's still like cringe, and you're come on, and like nope, it's his girlfriend. He's saying this all to his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now. I mean, so.
Although I gotta be honest, I didn't think what he said was too bad. It's just like, dude, I don't think I'm like good enough to handle having a girlfriend and being focused. You know what I mean? And he's just being real, and she's like, that means he wants to break up with me. It's just like, no, it just means he can't handle it all.
He framed it as it was a bad idea to go out with her because of the responsibility.
It's true.
And so she kind of took it as I'm the issue for him.
Like I'm the reason. Yeah. I guess that's checked.
That is kind of what he said. So I can't say I blame her, but at the same time, like, isn't the point of the relationship where you can like talk to someone and be like, hey, like, what is this about? Like, is it, am I really holding you back? Am I really causing you issues? Like, and when he could have said just no, it was the stress of the day. And I kind of rambled, like, I don't know.
If I can, I have one last nitpick. And when they're like testing the menu and trying to figure things out, and they always like take a bite, and then they like taste it and they're like, oh, like it's just, how can it be possibly that bad? You guys are like amazing chefs. It's like, did you really put like, oh, it says a half a teaspoon of salt. I put in 8 tablespoons of salt. Whoops! Like, no, come
No,
on, like it can't
Their
be
palate's
that
so
disgusting.
refined and
Yeah.
delicate.
Oh yeah,
It's
so
so
refined.
yeah.
Okay, but no, this is just always, it always makes me laugh every single time they take like one little bite and it's like, oh, get this out of here. But yeah, no, they know food. When I'm forgetting her name, when she's touring all the different places in one day and eating so much food, even if she took one bite of everything, she would be
Yeah.
in a food coma for days. But
Yep.
they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. But yeah, I love The Bear. I'm looking forward to whenever season 3 drops. But all right, that's all we got for tonight. We did 2 shows in a row, and we're gonna actually need 2 weeks to recover. We're gonna be off for 2 weeks. Our next live show is August 7th, and we're hoping to do a special double feature. The Barbie Oppenheimer release is coming this weekend. That gives us some time, 3 weekends to really think and see these movies and go multiple times, specifically to Barbie. I think there's going to be a lot of nuances that you're going to really want to dive
a lot
into.
of nuances. Get out of here.
You could probably see Barbie twice in the amount of time it takes to see Oppenheimer once. That's
Oh no.
but
Oh no.
all right. But yes, that's our next show, August 7th. And if you're looking for something to listen to in the meantime, again, we just recorded a show just a couple days ago, our Emmy nomination reaction special. You can listen to that in the meantime. The Emmy nominations came out less than a week ago. We broke them all down for a ceremony that's looking less and less likely that's going to take place in September, but we'll wait and see on that. You can find episodes of the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, Twitch. We're live Monday nights on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dual Redundancy. And you can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok @Dual Redundancy. I got to thank both of you guys for joining me tonight for doing 2 in less than a week here. For John directing the show, putting it up on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, until next time, until Barbenheimer, I'm David Allen.
I'm Jeff Rowe.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.